Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and now we're going to be covering the effects of the NFL draft and what that is doing for those players and the team that they went to.
Hey, that was.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if you practiced that one this time.
No, I didn't.
You are
Anyway,
normally just spread and it's as smooth
it's
as
Monday.
butter.
It's Monday. I'm
That was kind
I'm
of
chipper
lumpy,
for
like.
Monday. I'm chipper for Monday, but it's still Monday.
Nah, you've been on point all Monday.
hmm
It's like you're driving down a road and you just hit a little
Little
pothole. You
speed
went
bump.
this little pothole, spilled some with your coffee. Now you're good again.
Okay, so the NFL draft. So we're going to be talking about Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., and Kirk Cousins, and then we'll also be discussing J.J. McCarthy. So our first story is with Caleb Williams. It is credited to again, Yahoo Sports. So Caleb Williams' rare trait should help him revive the Bears as he did USC. So Caleb Williams has never been shy about the big goals he sets for himself. The Bears rookie quarterback set a goal to be the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft when he was a boy, a dream he achieved Thursday. The 2022 Heisman Trophy winner has said he wants to surpass Tom Brady's mark of 7 Super Bowl titles and told reporters at the draft in Detroit that he has no small plans for his career in Chicago. To be the greatest and to be able to sit at the table, Williams said of his vision for his Bears career. You put dreams and goals in front of you that you aren't able to reach within a year or two, and you try to go and get them. You have to consistently not get tired with consistency. Being able to be the same guy, being able to go in there and lead the guys and hold them accountable, and they hold me accountable to go and get it. Having those team goals, the only way you can reach them. My last goal is immortality. The only way to reach that is winning championships. That's big
Okay.
for me and something that is the reason I play the game. I'm excited. I guess what he means by immortality
I thought he
is
thought he was Thanos or something.
I think he means by, breaking records and that sort of thing. I think that's what he means by
Okay, I thought he
immortality.
found an Infinity Stone or something like that. Faith. And I was just
It
trying to
was the
figure.
way he put it that was kind of funny. Um So Williams' openness about his big goals puts a bright spotlight on himself and his teammates. The same was the case during his college career at Oklahoma and USC, but head coach Lincoln Riley saw Williams' approach elevate and energize his teammates. That allowed USC to find quick success with Williams in 2022, and Riley believes the same formula will work in Chicago.
Okay. First off, I just want to comment on one thing. When he
Mm-hmm.
said he wants to break Tom Brady's
Yes.
record,
Mm-hmm.
slow your roll, slow your
Let's
roll.
pump the brakes a little bit, baby.
Let's just
You reached one goal.
let,
That's pretty impressive. You were first round pick.
yes.
You
Listen,
haven't
Dan
even
Marino.
started in the NFL though, so I don't.
Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life.
hmm
When I rank the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I got Peyton Manning, I got Tom Brady, uh, I have Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes. This is in no particular order, just off the top
hmm
of my head. But I always Johnny Unitas, and Joe Montana. Dan Marino, one of the greatest of all time, never got a Super Bowl ring.
hmm
Joe Montana did it better than anyone else. I think he has three Super Bowl rings. Peyton has two. It's like Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than every franchise out there.
Yeah.
You understand? Maybe drop that bad boy in reverse and slow your roll just a little bit there. That's the first thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about this draft. Uh, man, I thought before this, I felt like the Bears were a dumpster fire. And then they made some key moves in the offseason that was like, oh my goodness, the Bears are looking good. I thought the Bears looked phenomenal just on the offseason moves. Then they rolled in there and they drafted Caleb Williams and then followed it up with a weapon for Caleb Williams. I'm like, I feel like the Bears made since the end of the season, the Bears, I feel like, has ran a perfect offseason. Perfect offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see, the Bears have never been great with drafting quarterbacks. But I think Caleb Williams is the perfect guy. He's a guy that has played under the bright lights. Playing in Los Angeles is not an easy thing to do. Playing at USC with their level of expectations are so high at USC that failure is not an option. Even when you have, they looked at some of his seasons as failures. One loss, two loss seasons are outright disappointment. He's been under that spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to handle the spotlight. Also, having him drafted with a weapon that he's knows he's going to be with for the next decade is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears did everything right with this pick. I absolutely loved it. And I could see I see Caleb starting right out the gate. And I could see the Bears really, I mean, being a factor within 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, the division that they're in, I thought everybody was hitting the jackpot. Everyone in that division, I thought drafted amazingly. I thought Detroit did a great job. I think the Bears did unreal. Green Bay might have had the best draft of them all, and then Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota was loaded too. That entire conference did so well.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to turn into the toughest conference in football because these guys are going to be a lot closer than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I took from that one. And we're going to be talking about another team that made a move in that conference as well shortly. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Yes. All right. So our next story, is you can credit this to, I think it's CBS. I think my autocorrect changed CBS because it was spelled wrong. Anyway, so Atlanta Falcons pick quarterback Michael Penix Jr. in the NFL draft. Current starter Kirk Cousins camp had no idea of the surprise move. The Atlanta Falcons surprised the NFL world on Thursday, selecting quarterback Michael Penix Jr. with the number 8 pick in the 2024 draft. The move got NFL observers talking, given the Falcons' evident defensive needs and that the team recently signed Kirk Cousins to a huge deal to their new starting quarterback. In March, the 36-year-old Cousins signed a 4-year, $180 million contract with a $100 million in guarantees with Atlanta, and a move seemingly designed to correct some years of disappointment. However, when the Falcons' first pick this year's draft came, the team decided to add a young player to the quarterback roster in the form of Penix Jr. Before the pick was announced, Cousins' agent Mike McCarthy posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, "About to be shocked." McCartney later told NFL Network insider Mike Garfolo. I don't know.
Garfalo?
Yeah, Garfolo. that the pick was a big surprise to Cousins' camp. We had no idea this was coming. The truth is, the whole league had no idea this was coming, McCartney said. We've gotten no heads up. Kirk got a call from the Falcons when they were on the clock. That was the first we heard. It never came up in conversation. Speaking to the media after the first round, Falcons general manager and head coach were keen to stress that Cousins was their starting quarterback. They also expressed their excitement in having someone to help them win right now in the former Minnesota Vikings quarterback, while also being able to build for the future with Penix Jr.
Okay. How much was that contract for? The full value of the contract?
For
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins was $180 million contract with a $100 million in guarantees.
Okay. So he got 100. I have it here. So it's a 4-year, $180 million contract with a $50 million signing bonus. Faith, sign your name for $50 million. that.
You
And
got
so,
it, buddy.
absolutely. Okay. I hate this and I love it all at the exact same time. It's kind of like when we started the show, I had that steak that was so seasoned so perfectly, but then it turned out to be a really tough steak to swallow. Well, this is that situation. They didn't have to go this route. First off, there's a lot of people highly upset about this pick. I don't agree with them. And one of the guys, Tommy from our GSMC college football podcast, he's a big Atlanta, Georgia fan. And he didn't like this pick. And Tommy's super sharp, but he wasn't happy about this pick. I love the pick. I love the decision behind it. But sometimes the execution is where I had a problem. You convince Kirk Cousins, hey, I want you to leave the team that you've been with, that's been super loyal to you, that have done all this for you, and I want you to leave them and come to us, and we're gonna pay you well. We're gonna bring you into the family. You're our future. And then a few weeks later, hey, we just drafted our future quarterback. That's blindsiding him. Second thing is, you weren't. So really, there's a layer of lack of trust now between Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. If they would have came in, and I'll tell you this, if the Falcons would have went to Kirk Cousins and said, this is the money we're offering, here's the signing bonus, but I want you to know we plan on drafting a quarterback with our first overall pick we have. The first pick we get, we're drafting a quarterback. Kirk Cousins don't sign with the Atlanta Falcons. There's no way he signs with them.
Why would
he? He would have stayed in Minnesota. Or he'd have went somewhere else. He didn't have a shortage of places to go to. There's no way he signs with them. So there's a layer of lack of trust there that I have a major problem with. This is not how this is not the way a quality organization runs their team. Second of all, okay, here's the next thing. Faith, what about this? It's the night before the draft. We pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Kurt, listen, we've signed you. Our plans are to work with you, and you're our quarterback for what we signed. But we have an opportunity to draft a great guy. If we have that opportunity, we're going to take it and have you groom him for the future." That's the way a quality organization, even if you don't tell them before you sign them, the night before. It is a possibility that we may actually go get a quarterback that may sit behind you for a few years. I had no problem with that. But seconds before they're about the pick is in, before the pick is announced, then they call him, hey, just giving you a heads up. We just drafted a quarterback. Sorry about your luck. Is not the way to handle it, especially for a quality guy like Kirk Cousins. He's always been a consummate professional. I didn't like the way they did this. Now, what did I like about this? I don't like the way they handled it, but what I like is they're taking that Green Bay Packer Kansas City Chiefs approach. Kansas City Chiefs had Alex Smith, who was performing at a very high level, had taken them to the AFC Championship game. They were doing really well. And what did they do? They came to him and said, hey, we're going to trade up to get this guy out of the Big 12 that not that many people were really paying attention to, a guy named Patrick Mahomes. We're going to draft him. We want him to stay behind you for a couple of years, and I want you to groom him. Alex Smith was okay with that. Thank you for coming to me. Thank you for not blindsiding me. Atlanta didn't do it that way. That's the problem I had. Now, the model is Kirk Cousins sat behind Alex Smith. He learned when it came, not Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes learned behind Alex Smith. When it came time for Alex Smith, for Patrick Mahomes to become the starter, they moved on from Alex Smith. Green Bay, they drafted Jordan Love behind Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, again, blindsided. This is which caused a lot of problems for them. That's why it's kind of like the model, the Green Bay model. But then Jordan Love learned behind Alex Smith for a couple years. They moved on from Aaron Rodgers, and now they have their quarterback of the future in Jordan Love, and they're set up for the next decade. That's what I do like. I love the fact that they have their quarterback for this year and next year. And if you want, the following year, you have him under contract. There's a big that was a big contract, but then you know that you're after the Kirk Cousins years, Penix Jr. becomes the future. So I love that. I think Atlanta is loaded. They could have done with some more defensive help with that first pick. And a lot of people think, and I think it would have been a great move if you'd have got some help that could have helped them immediately by adding some other players that would have helped them. I think that would have been great. But I love the fact that they're planning for the future and they're secure in where they're at and have their Mr. Right Now and Mr. Future all under the same roof right now. I just don't like the way they did it. So that's my take there.
It was definitely a little shady.
Yes, especially it's kind of like someone says to you, Faith, hey, I want you to go to prom with me. And then the last second, right before the car is supposed to pick you up, change my mind. We're gonna take. I'm taking. I know I paid for the dress. I know I paid for your ticket and everything, but I'm gonna go get Becky instead. About that, it could have been handled better.
Yep.
So.
Alrighty, well, for our last story with this segment, we have the Minnesota Vikings draft J.J. McCarthy to be the quarterback of the future. This story is from CBS News. The Minnesota Vikings have chosen J.J. McCarthy to be their franchise quarterback of the future. The Vikings took McCarthy with the 10th pick in the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday. McCarthy coming off a national championship win with Michigan, but he didn't have to do much as a passer to get there. He threw just he threw for just 2,991 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions all season. His NFL.com scouting profile notes a lot of intangibles. He is confident and seems to have the ability to take slights and digest it as competitive fuel, but does highlight the concerns about his physical ability. McCarthy should continue to improve as a passer, but he fails to stand out in many of the areas that tend to be predict of top-level success in the NFL, the profile reads. And McCarthy is 21 years old. And then it
Okay.
touches on Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins was with the Vikings before that.
Yeah, okay. First off,
Mm-hmm.
man, Minnesota is a well-run organization. Um, yeah, they recently was rated one of the best organizations for the NFL report cards consistently year after year.
Mm-hmm.
They're set up for the future. They have Sam Darnold, which is going to be their quarterback starting out, which means JJ McCarthy, who I personally think has the biggest upside of anyone in this NFL draft. I had him rated as my number 2 quarterback in this draft. I would have taken him over anyone else in this draft. Uh, the big knack on him where people are just like really upset and don't think he's where he should have been picked so high isn't from his performance. His performance has been great. Third in QBR for the year, number 1 for 3rd and 7, third in QBR outside structure, top 10 inside structure, top for under the pressure QBR. What people don't like is that he played for Michigan, a extremely heavy run-based offense.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes running the ball 10, 15, 20 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call on a guy to they don't call on a quarterback to control their future. It's all behind that offensive line and the running game. But when you have an offense like that, you need a quarterback that when is needed, you have the weapon there. And that's what Michigan did. Whenever JJ McCarthy was called to pull them out, they need a big play on 3rd down. He did it. They're behind. You need someone to rally the team. He did it. Whenever he was called upon to do something, 9 out of 10 times he didn't just do it. He excelled in it.
Mm-hmm.
When you started looking at the scouting reports and things of that nature, everyone started noticing, like, wait a minute, this guy is a freak of nature. This guy has all the tools. He's a born leader. He has the size. He has the strength. He can make all the throws. He's that prototypical quarterback that a team would need. They have Sam Darnold, who is going to be, like I said, the starter. Gives JJ McCarthy a chance to kind of sit back a little bit and kind of get used to that NFL speed, and then maybe bring him in week 6, week 8, 10, or 14 later in the season. I love what they're doing. When you look around and you say Aaron Jones at running back, Justin Jefferson uh, at wide receiver, uh, they're set up for the future. I love this organization. They're doing well. The only problem is everyone in this organization, everyone in this division has improved.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. The Bears are exponentially improved. As I mentioned, Minnesota's improved. Green Bay just jumped light years ahead, and I think Green Bay is really good. The Detroit Lions just was in the NFC Championship, and they improved.
Ooh.
This division is a cage match. I love that you love the Detroit Lions. You don't
I
see a
know.
lot of people
I'm a
supporting the
Detroit
Lions. I'm
Lions
loving it.
fan now.
I love that. That is you don't have a lot of people jump coming out there saying it with their chest. Hey, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I love that about you. Um, but yeah, I really like what has gone down here, and I'm super excited about it. So
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy, I got him as if I was drafting a quarterback in this draft, JJ McCarthy would be the guy I would draft.
Mm-hmm.
No matter
You've
where
been a big fan of JJ McCarthy.
Yes, no matter where I'm at, no matter where I'm drafting uh on in this draft, he's number one on my draft board.
Mm-hmm.
That's how highly I think of him. So I like this pick. I like what Minnesota's doing. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into our dating horror stories of the week. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.